News political contributor Mark Leibovich is chief national correspondent for the New York Times Magazine. Mark, good morning to you and Happy New Year. The president-elect starts the new year here at odds with many in Washington over hacking and Russia. He did say over the weekend that the intelligence community has been wrong before about intelligence. They were wrong over WMDs in Iraq. Now he's promising this new information Tuesday or Wednesday. Any idea what we might hear?
Not any idea at all what Mr. Trump's new information is. I mean, I think that's what we'll see. I mean, I don't know if this is information he has gotten in some of the briefings he has had or some other sources. But look, this is, again, part of the sort of ongoing sort of unfurling of drama that we see in his announcing of whatever decisions he's going to do. The question is, I mean, this is a very serious matter. He doesn't seem to be having a lot of bipartisan support, at least on the Hill, and we'll see how this is received.
Mark, we also heard from Trump's incoming communications director who says that the sanctions on Russia could be, in fact, political retribution. I mean, where is that coming from? Are you hearing anything, and does that make sense? That statement really sort of baffled me. I mean, it's unclear what the retribution would be for, to whom, what exactly he's talking about here. I mean, I think Sean Spicer and the Trump administration in general is in a very, very tight situation, which is that they are essentially aligning with a school of thought that the Russians have not done anything or have been proven to do anything that serious of a breach. So, I mean, it's unclear where this is going to lead. I mean, I think what we're going to see in the next few days is, I am assuming, a continued groundswell of support for some kind of sanctions or greater sanctions, and we'll see how the Trump administration responds.
Mark, we know the new Congress will be sworn in tomorrow, and your paper calls it the most powerful and ambitious Republican-led Congress in 20 years. What do you think will be first up on the docket?
Well, I mean, Obamacare is something they've been talking about again and again and again. I mean, the problem is it's a very complicated process. They've talked about, I mean, having something to replace it with. It's going to take a while to come up with that. So, obviously, it's a good soundbite. It's a good first agenda move. The question is, how do you execute something like Obamacare? There'll be a lot of other things we'll see. I think what a lot of things you're hearing, though, is that they're going to let the administration take the first lead. We're going to see what regulations they're going to be doing away with, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Mark, when it comes to the Obama legacy positions, what are the most vulnerable and what might be the sturdiest in terms of the new Congress trying to change things? Well,
certainly, again, Obamacare keeps coming up again and again. I think the Supreme Court, I mean, it's not an Obama legacy per se, but obviously Donald Trump is going to, probably one of his first announcements after he takes office in a few weeks, is going to be to put out a couple of Supreme Court nominees, or at least the Supreme Court nominee for the first, to fill Antonin Scalia's chair. So, I mean, we'll see. But, I mean, I think Obamacare is one that keeps coming up again and again.
Mark, the president-elect tweeted on New Year's Eve, he included a reference to his enemies. A lot of people are scratching their heads over that. When we think of an enemies list, we think of Richard Nixon and Chuck Colson tapping people's phones, having people followed. Is that the same thing here, or is it something more innocuous?
Well, I mean, it's the same word. I mean, the question is, I mean, I think the larger question is, what is the tone Donald Trump is going to set? I mean, he has said, I guess he's paid lip service to the idea of being a uniter, to bring the country together. This is not the kind of language that speaks to, that as being one of his early intents. But again, I mean, I think it's a little bit disingenuous for people to say that, oh, this is surprising, he hasn't changed his tone. I mean, look, this is part of his appeal to a lot of his supporters, is that he has given no quarter at all, and this is just part of that.
We'll certainly be watching that Twitter feed. Mark Leibovich, thank you so much for joining us.